If you guys really want to support this channel, I suggest head over to our Patreon page, check out our weekly awards. I don't do monthly awards. Heck no, I offer you guys weekly awards. Well, hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Kat, and welcome back to more League of Legends content. Today we are starting our brand new series here on the channel, which is called League of Legends Champion Tales. Since you guys have been so supportive of League of Legends, I figured that I would bring a mini-series to the channel, which is all about the champions of League. And what I'm really excited about, as you guys told me to keep it more organized, is definitely do it in alphabetical order. I'll also do it by region. But I felt, because this is how it is on the website itself, it's in alphabetical order, which kind of saves me time from finding a character and then checking them off and saying, I did this character. Maybe I did that one? I'm not sure. So this way I'll go in order, and this way you can also follow along with me during the series as well. And the lore for the champions are so rich and powerful. And to start, I figured again with that whole alphabetical order, let's start with Aatrox, or Aatrox. So his race is Darken. His role is a fighter, so I mean that's really good to know, even though we realized how big he was. If you guys do main as Aatrox, I would love to know why and what you really love about him. His quote is, "I must destroy even hope." Aatrox. So he's obviously a big boy who has a big attitude, and he really wants to destroy even hope, so dang, and he's the Darkened Blade. As we saw, he had the huge blade as well, which kind of freaks me out because you don't want that thing to be slashing anybody. You really don't want to mess around with things that big, but his region is Runeterra. It's good to know. I also like, it also has its little symbol as well, listed on the side there, which is really good to see, like how they all have different symbols, which if you guys would also like me to review the symbols, I would love to talk about the lores. That would also be a little mini series that I do conduct. If you didn't see our episode with Aatrox World Ender, he's a World Ender, guys, be afraid. You can check that out now. It should be popping up on the screen. Oh man, dude, he looks skinnier in this one. I for one am a huge fan of concept art. Like, whenever I see it, I get so addicted to it. But look at that sword! It looks like it could be connected to him as well, which is really cool. But I love how League has, like, their designs with the wings and everything. Everyone has, like, pointiness and then the wings. Great for cosplay. Hard to do. I mean, I've only cosplayed a few times, and my cosplay is, like that 90s Sailor Moon commercial that you saw on TV. Shall we play that?
So you haven't met Luna, that yakety-yak cat from outer space, and became a wicked cool superheroine.
With Aatrox himself, like, I like his stance. He looks very confident, but I could be wrong because I haven't gotten to his bio yet. But look at those wings! He's pointy. He looks very demonic, which is cool because, I'm Catholic, but at the same time, I really am a huge fan of monsters and creatures, which I've always been. I mean, ever since I was a fan of Spyro the Dragon, great game if you guys haven't checked it out yet. I was a huge fan of dragons, which then led me on my journey of loving creatures. So he looks like, oh man. I love how his design also matches his sword. I mean, it's like you have his pointy wings, you have his, you also have his tail. He has a tail too. His horns and everything. But the sword itself looks like it is a part of him. So it's not like if it were to separate how it kind of flew back into him. It really looks like it's a very part of him. So I think that's it for the concept art. Alright, so let's get reading his bio right now. Alright, let's go, guys. Whether mistaken for a demon or god, many tales have been told of the Darkened Blade, but few know his real name or the story of his fall. In ancient times, long before desert sand swallowed the empire, a mighty champion of Shurima was brought before the sun disk to become the avatar for a now forgotten celestial ideal. Remade as one of the ascended, his wings were the golden light of dawn, and his armor sparkled like a constellation of hope from beyond his great veil. Powerful. Aatrox was his name. He was the vanguard of every noble conflict. So true and just was his conduct that other god warriors would always gather at his side, and 10,000 mortals of Shurima marched behind him. Wow. I mean, I'd love to have that myself. I mean, like having 10,000, like that's awesome, like just to realize how powerful people thought he was. When Seneca, the ascended warrior queen, called for his help against the rebellion of, I'm gonna say this wrong, again, I'm new, Acanthia, I gotta learn the regions as well. Aatrox answered without hesitation. But no one predicted the extent of the horrors that the rebels would unleash. The void quickly overwhelmed its Acathian masters and began the grinding annihilation of all life it encountered. That's really creepy. Oh man, if you were in this situation, I don't know what I would do. If you just saw like a void being destroying everything, I'd just be like, okay, let me open my umbrella. Okay, take me with you. After many years of desperate battle, Aatrox and his brethren finally halted the void's perverse advance and seared the largest rifts shut. Good job. But the surviving ascended, the self-described Sunborn, had been forever changed by what they had encountered. Though Shurima had triumphed, they all had lost in their victory. Even noble Aatrox. So, imagine if you lost a battle. Imagine if you lost all, like again, with the all hope thing. I mean, you would feel like you were nothing. I mean, you lost the battle that you were the noble, you were the one that everyone counted on, and suddenly you lose. I don't know how I would feel like very ashamed of myself, even though it couldn't possibly just been your fault, but... And in time, Shurima fell, as all empires must. Oof, chills. Without any monarch to defend, or the extraterrestrial threat of the void to test them, Aatrox and the Sunborn began to clash with one another, and eventually this became a war for the runes of their world. Ooh, my God. Mortals fleeing the conflict came to know them instead by a new and scornful name, the Darken. Oh, that sucks, though. I mean, the thing is, like, they began to clash, but, like, that sucks. That sucks, because everything was, like, once great, and then, again, with the Empire, it has to fall, but, oh, man. Fearing that these fallen ascended were as dangerous to Runeterra's survival as the Void incursions had been, the Tarjonians intervened. It is said that the aspect of Twilight gave mortals the knowledge to trap the Darken, and the newly reborn aspect of war united many in fighting back against them. And that's kind of cool, but I still feel bad for the dude. Never fearing any foe, Aatrox and his armies were ready, and he realized only too late that they had been deceived. A force greater than 1,000 dead suns pulled him inside the sword he had carried into battle countless times, and forever bound his immortal essence to it. So I was right! I was right. That's why it looks like it's connected to him, because he is actually bound and cursed. What is with all these league champions being cursed? He is cursed and bound to his sword. Oh, that is cool. That kind of gives me like a genie type of vibe, where it's like if you're a genie, you're trapped within a lamp. Oh, that's cool. The weapon was a prison, sealing his consciousness in suffocating eternal darkness, robbing him even from the ability to die. For centuries, he strained against the hellish confinement until some nameless mortal was foolish enough to try and wield the blade once more. If you see a blade that big, okay? If you see a blade that pointy and that red and that glowing, and you see it just there, and you're probably small and you're immortal and you try to take it, you're stupid. What is wrong with you? I mean, again, that's again with the whole genie thing, so mortal. What is wrong with you? Aatrox seized upon this opportunity, forcing his will and an imitation of his original form onto his bearer. Ooh. Though this process quickly drained all life from the new body. So he took over it. Again, this is why you don't touch swords like that, people. In the years that followed, Aatrox groomed many more hosts. Though his grasp of such magics had been limited in his life, he learned to take control of a mortal in the span of a single breath, and in battle he discovered he could feast on his victims and build himself ever larger and stronger. This is why you don't touch his sword, guys. Ugh, whoever that mortal was, shame on you. Shaking my head. SMH. I mean, he literally is learning how to, I mean, again, with revenge and everything, sure, but... Aatrox traveled the land, searching desperately, endlessly, for a way to return to his previous ascended form. That's kind of sad. That is really sad. But the riddle to the blade proved unsolvable, and in time he realized he would never be free of it. The flesh he had stole and crudely shaped began to feel like a mockery of his former glory. Imagine living with that. I feel bad for you, dude. Oh God, this line right here. A cage only slightly larger than the sword. Oh my God. Like, imagine living with yourself and then it's like a mockery of who he used to be. Despair and loathing grew in his heart. The heavenly powers that Aatrox had once embodied had been wiped from the world and all memory. That's so sad. Like, his power, his glory, his nobility, everything that he once stood for is gone. And now he's just he's lurking in the world and walking on this world to live with that. Raging against this injustice, he arrived at a solution that could only be born of a prisoner's desperation. If he could not destroy the blade or free himself, then he would embrace oblivion instead. I feel so bad for him. I want to give him a hug. I thought this guy was creepy in my previous reaction. Now I just want to give him a hug and tell him everything's going to be okay. Now Aatrox marches toward this merciless goal, bringing war and death wherever he goes. He clings to the blind hope. If he can drive out all creation into a final apocalyptic battle where everything else is destroyed, then maybe he and the blade will also cease to exist. Now that's powerful. I mean, he wants to destroy himself and the blade because he feels like he cannot control it. And to realize that you were once such a noble, that somebody that people looked upon, that followed, that adored, and then to live with this pain and agony and this mockery, it's so sad. And his whole goal is to cease to exist. His whole goal is to destroy everything so then he himself and all the mortals of the world and everybody else can be destroyed because he hates himself. The boy basically hates himself because he cannot wield this great power. Boy, you might look like a huge demonic creature, but I want to give you a hug right now. Alright guys, so let's move on to Aatrox's story. This is called The Cage. Darkness. The breath I cannot take plagues me. It is an emptiness in my lungs and throat, as if I had stopped mid-breath and then held my lungs cruelly waiting. My mouth opens, throat hollow, unable to pull in air. My chest, the horrible tension in my thorax. My limbs and muscles refuse to move. I cannot breathe. I am choking. The pressure builds. The stiffness spreads to my chest and limbs. I want to scream, to tear at my face, to wall. But I am trapped. I cannot move. I cannot move. Darkness. Now, that pains me. You feel his pain in this moment, like it's going from his point of view here, and you realize that he's trapped within himself. He's feeling that pain and no one can save him, and that's just dark. Hold on, let's set the mood here. Let's set the mood. Let's make it right. Okay. Oof. Here we go. I must remember. I must remember. The battle. I lost control. It was foolish. The mortals formed in ranks against me. I crashed into them, drank from them. The temptation was too great. As I reaped, I reforged their flesh into a better approximation of my true shape. Desperately, I consumed more and more, hoping for the briefest echo of what I once was. Instead, like a fire, I burned too quickly, destroying even my host's form. Darkness. So, he's trying to remember in this moment, like, exactly what happened, and he realizes what he did. He was desperate, and then he realized that he was losing control of himself and then to his host. So that's kind of showing remorse in a way, that kind of, the way I'm kind of reading, reading this and also, like, learning from it. But, like, he drank from everything. He was losing his control. Like, he's saying the temptation was too great. And then the fire consumed him. So, this is dark, guys. This is dark. It was raining when we fought. What if the mud and filth cover me? What if I'm hidden for thousands of years, trapped in this prison? The horror of that idea feeds my panic. The battle is ending. I can feel it. I must will my form upright. I must. I have no arms or legs. The darkness binds me like a cocoon. That writing, though. That writing. No. I will myself upright. But I can't know if it is working. I cannot know anything but the darkness. Please, let some mortal find me. Please. I beg the darkness endlessly, but the humiliation of my plea is answered only with silence. So he was pleading. Like, that's what sucks, is like you kind of are like, oh great, there goes humanity, there goes morality, there goes everything gonna be destroyed if that one mortal pulls it, if that one mortal takes that sword. But at the same time you feel better because you're like, this poor guy, you know. He's about to be free. The darkness, he's about to be free from the darkness. But then I feel a mortal nearby. I have no eyes, no ears, but I can feel his approach. He is fleeing from adversaries. He must try to defend himself. He must grasp me. Can he see me? He could run past me. I could be left here. I feel his hand grip this form, and his consciousness opens to me. Well, that's cool. The second that he touches the sword, he feels it overwhelm him. I burrow into him, pulling him down. I am like a drowning man thrown into the sea of a shipwreck, dragging myself to the surface by clawing past my fellows. This writing is so rich. I love this. What's happening? The mortal screams, but he is silenced by the darkness. The endless darkness I have just escaped. So they kind of traded places there. Poor mortal. I mean, dude was just trying to protect himself like every guy would from the villains and everyone else he was fighting. He tried, but then failed miserably. I'm so sorry, mortal. Whoever you are, I'm so sorry. And I have eyes. I could see the falling rain, the muck, the blood of the slaughtering field. In front of me stand two very weary knights with spears. I cut them apart and drink in their forms, recrafting this body to my needs. I see that. Literally goes whoosh, and then I'm better now. They are weak. I must move quickly. I must find a better wielder, a better host. Around me are only the dead and dying. I hear their souls retreating from this world. He hears it. Ooh. Imagine if you could hear that. Oh my god. Oh, it kind of also means maybe they're moaning and groaning, like the battle cries of them dying. Oh. The fighting has not ended. It's moved inside the city walls. I force my new shape, limping, crawling toward the sounds of battle, toward a better host. I roar, but not in triumph. Never in triumph. I will drink from that city, but I will achieve only a grotesque mockery of my former glory. I was shaped by the stars and the purity of my aspect. I was light and reason, given shape. I defended this world in the greatest battles ever known. Now blood and a core drips from the stolen flesh as it decays. The muscles and bones struggle, tear, and protest the abomination I have become. So that's sad, because he's like, he was pure, he was glory, he was everything, he was night and day, he was light and reason, and now suddenly he's just blood and death. He's just trying to regain his form, to regain humanity, to regain his morality. And it's really sad that you go from like point A to point Z, and to see this character suffering like this, to really feel what he's going through, that he is decaying before our eyes, and how ashamed he is of himself. I want to give you a hug, man. I take a breath. No, Aatrox. I say, my voice wet and echoing as the dead that surrounds me. We will go onward, and onward, and onward, until the final oblivion comes. It's really upsetting because, again, he was that character. He was the one that was purity, he was light, he was reason. And then he considers himself the abomination. And he wanted to die. And that's what's really sad about this. He wanted to die. He wants to kill himself because he's ashamed of himself. And in the story itself, you felt his pain. The writing, gorgeous. Whoever wrote for this is just absolutely gorgeous. But at the ending, it's like, no, Aatrox. And he says, I say, my voice wet and echoing as the dead that surrounds me. He's comparing himself to dead people. And then, we will go onward, and onward, and onward. It's like slowly he's dripping away. His life force is just being taken away from him. But at the same time, I could see him struggling, just pushing onward and going forth, like you could see him at this moment just possibly carrying his sword and just limping through the field of dead bodies everywhere, covered in rain and muck and blood and demise. And here he is with his sword, just trekking through them to the field of death as he is moving onward in pain with his insecurities and his mind, reminding himself at this given moment, reminding himself that he is nothing, that he is a humiliation and a mockery of his past self, that he will never ever be anything greater than he once was, that he will never achieve that greatness. And now, as he is, he's just, I could see it holding the sword and going through that field, onward and onward, just traveling, feeling that pain is inside of his soul. And the final words is, until the final oblivion comes. So he wants to give up. He just wants to cause death everywhere. So if you do main as Aatrox, and hopefully I'm saying his name correctly, if you main as him, he's a very powerful character, because he went through a very dark backstory. He went from somebody being very respected to somebody who was mocked, to somebody who had to feed off of mortals in order to get his life back, to kill in order to be who he once was. And I could just see him going forth and just painfully trying to survive, to keep that existence, to keep stealing lives in order for him to be separated from his sword, to have that binding, to have that no more. I feel so bad for him. Oh, that was emotional. That was good. Alright guys, so you can see all the information all about Aatrox on the League of Legends website. This is so cool how I'm able to do this, because I really wanted to be able to support the League of Legends characters overall and who they are. So if you have a favorite character, of course they're going to be featured here. I love learning about Aatrox and his backstory, and I can't wait to check out all the other characters. But all reaction videos will be together for Aatrox himself. I'll also be doing a lot of other fun things for his character, so stay tuned for that as well. But yeah, guys, I cannot wait to see what all the other characters are all about. I cannot wait for you to join me on another episode of League of Legends Champion Tales. And yeah, you guys keep spreading the love of Aatrox. Let me know what you love about him. If you main as him, that is awesome. And what did you love about his story overall? But anyway, guys, you stay weird, you stay wonderful, and you stay awesome, my friends. And until the next video, embrace your inner fangirl and your inner fanboy every single day. Bye, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode. I really hope that you did enjoy it. And now is just a special time to give a shout out to our awesome and amazing patrons that you see that is listed on the screen right now. Honestly, we would not be able to create anything if it were not for you guys. You guys believe in the vision, you guys believe in this journey, and you guys not only just believe in the channel, but you believe in me. God bless you all for believing in this vision, and I hope you have an amazing day. If you guys want to become patrons and join me on this journey, the link is in the description down below, or you can click it on the screen right over there. Also, if you really did enjoy this video, be sure to subscribe. You could also click there with the cute little icon that's there as well. And if you want to check out more episodes, there should be a little box that's popped up right about now. Click on that and enjoy the ride. But as always, guys, until the next video, embrace your inner fangirl and your inner fanboy every single day. Bye, guys.